Okay, you guys, we had our little warm up chat. In case anybody is new here, I just want to say hi. My name is Lita, and I am not a doctor, but I'm super passionate about keto and all ways that we can, use natural means to heal ourselves and to feel better, lose weight, feel great, and age gracefully. So, welcome, welcome, welcome. Today, we are going to talk about 3 tips to stop the urge for trigger foods. And trigger foods, I could have used the term like habits because they're kind of the same thing. But the funny thing is that when we're triggered, we usually eat foods that aren't that good, right? Do you guys ever notice that? Like, if you have a hard time not reaching for your trigger foods, okay, you probably find that it's not during your normal eating time, when you would normally have a meal or something like that. There are usually certain triggers, right? And I'll give you like 3 of my dirty little secrets. So, one is I love watching Dr. Phil with my lunch. So I record Dr. Phil every day, and that's me and Dr. Phil have this special time every day where I've worked since 5:30 in the morning, and now it's lunchtime, and I'm sitting down with Dr. Phil. But here's my trigger. Dr. Phil is an hour-long show. Okay, let's say if I fast forward the commercials, and let's say it's like 45 minutes, it doesn't take me 45 minutes to eat my lunch. My lunch is usually like an anti-aging drink, it's a fatty coffee, maybe it's a salad, but it doesn't take me 45 minutes to eat my lunch. So my dirty little secret and my bad habit has always been that after I eat the good stuff, like the stuff that I plan for, I feel like I have to eat to finish off the show. I admit it. I don't know if anybody else has that problem, but like if I am watching a show, and this kind of goes for any show, but Dr. Phil is kind of like my everyday, I feel like I have to eat a little something. So if that means like I'll just get like a little bowl of just some almond crackers, right? Just some almond crackers. I am not counting the carbs on that. I'm just watching Dr. Phil and just kind of filling in the time. Okay, so that's a super bad habit, and that is a trigger for me. Another one that I have is eating dessert after dinner, like wanting to have a dessert after dinner, and also just snacking when I'm watching TV at all, like movie, TV show, whatever. Because let's face it, in 54 years, I have trained myself to eat a snack when I'm watching something. Okay, tell me, am I the only one? Is there anybody else out there? I can't possibly be the only one. So those are my 3 little things. But do you guys ever find that like you have these times where you're like, oh, I'm doing great, and I got my day planned, and I got my having my fatty coffee for breakfast, and I got this for lunch, and whatever for dinner, and then whatever that trigger is, whatever it is for you, and all of a sudden you're like habitually reaching for that thing, and that thing, I can almost guarantee you, is not like cucumber, right? It's probably not lettuce. It's probably not even a couple of berries or something. It's like, if you're like me, when I have one of those little triggers or those little habits that kick in, it's going to be carby. I want something carby. I want something crunchy. I want something salty. I want something sweet. I want something carby, right? And that's the unfortunate thing, is that when we have these triggers or these habits or whatever, it's usually those kind of foods that we go to. And this is what I want to talk about today, about how can we change these habits? Because as Dr. Phil says, just stopping something, like saying to yourself, okay, that's it. I am not going to reach for sweets after dinner. That doesn't change anything. You have to change a habit with another habit. So you replace a bad habit with a good habit. It's much easier. I'm not saying you can't just go cold turkey on stuff. Obviously, people can do that, but it's way easier to come up with something else that either changes the direction that you were going, or it's replacing the bad habit with a good habit. I want to see what other people are saying here. Yep. Marjana is guilty. Kim is guilty. Oh, thank you, Neer. Teresa, my worst time of day is after 8 p.m. I'm relaxing, watching TV, and feel the need to snack. I totally get it. And especially if you feel like you've done particularly well, you would think if you did particularly well, you'd be like, oh no, I'm not going to ruin my good day. I almost feel like I've done really good today. I deserve to have X. And it really won't make that much of a difference because I might have been a little bit low on a couple things today. So I think I can just squeeze it in. Oh, the things that you can say in your head, right? The things that you can do. So I think the best way is to come up with some things to help with these. So I'm going to give you my 3 tips here. I've got some stuff written down here. Okay. So these are the 3 categories. I've got lots of ideas within each category, but these are the 3 categories. Okay. So I'll say the 3 categories. Eating enough. Okay. So this is going to help us to change these triggers and these habits. Make sure we're eating enough, notice what the triggers are, and creating new habits. So the first one, eat enough. I have to admit, I have done this many times, and this is usually what derails me after dinner. If you eat too low of calories throughout the day, it is so easy to get triggered because you're hungry. You're actually hungry. You're actually needing more calories. Even if you're fasting, that's totally fine. Not eating during your fasting time is not what I'm talking about. But when you go to eat again, you need to eat enough calories. I've actually heard there's lots of school of thought on it. And I'm not saying that you should force yourself to eat beyond what feels comfortable. That's not what I'm saying. But most experts say that even though you're fasting, you should try to strive for your usual macros per day. Again, unless you're totally stuffed or whatever, then obviously don't push it. But sometimes what I hear people saying is they'll be like, oh, well, I fasted till lunch. And then at lunch, I had a fatty coffee, which is totally fine. That's continuing on with the fast. And then at dinner time, I just had like a small little salad or whatever. I just really wasn't hungry. And that will backfire. That will backfire with your metabolism, but it's also going to backfire with eventually it's going to rebound on you and you're going to go, and you're going to be face deep in Doritos. So we don't want to be triggered for that. Okay, number 2, notice your triggers. Okay, so these are the most common ones: watching TV, socializing, being overtired, not eating enough during the day, not getting enough protein and fat. And this is another reason why we have our 7-day macro tracking challenge, usually once a month, because so many people, and I admit I am one of those people that don't track, but when you don't track, you're kind of guessing. And I guess for most of the time, you can kind of estimate what it is. I have to admit that I am off all the time. Like when I go and track, I'm like, oh my, I still have to eat how much more protein? Holy crap. Like I actually felt in my mind that I had enough protein. I did not have enough protein. Not getting enough protein and fat, carbs doesn't matter at all. You could have 0 carbs and you'd be totally fine. But if you don't get enough protein and fat, you are going to notice it. When I say protein and fat, I mean, I'm not saying that you have to like go overboard on either of them. It's up to you how you decide that you want to do it. If you want to do the traditional keto way, or you want to go a higher fat way, or you want to go a higher protein way, but together they make up the bulk of your macros. And if you're not getting enough of that, you are definitely going to feel it and you're going to be triggered to eating stuff that we shouldn't eat. Okay, creating new habits. This is the list that I made here. So replacing a bad habit with a newer habit. And I have found this has helped me to be most successful, coming up with things that are changing my pattern, because I was really noticing I was falling into some really bad habits. Okay. So here's some. I plan my meals ahead of time to be sure I get enough protein and fat in every meal. So in the meals that I'm eating, like when I'm not fasting, I'm planning it ahead of time. So I'm not just kind of winging it, right? I know we all play Tetris at the fridge and everything, and that's fine once in a while, but most of the time it's really good if you can plan ahead so that you know you're getting those macros in. Okay, before I go out for a dinner or a party or some kind of social event, I have my anti-aging drink, or I have some protein, or I pop some MCT capsules or something like that. I do it before I leave so that I get this sort of nice, comfortable feeling. I don't want to get to where I'm going, and I don't want to be hungry when I get there, because that's a recipe for disaster. It's very difficult to stay on plan when you go to something like that hungry, because it's already a natural trigger. Everyone else is eating whatever, or you're in a restaurant and you're smelling these carby foods or whatever. And it's so easy to say, I'm going to have another one and done tonight, or something like that, if you don't have something already in your stomach. Okay. Planning ahead for something that you might need after dinner. So we've talked in the group a few times, and there's lots of different recipes for this, but it's like a hemp, chia, flax, oatmeal. That's kind of what I make, but there's different variations. Literally, you can go onto Pinterest and you can type in keto oatmeal. Just type in keto oatmeal and you'll see all these different recipes. The one I make is so easy. I take a tablespoon of chia seeds, I take 3 tablespoons of hemp seeds, and I take 1 tablespoon of flax, or maybe it's 2. I got it written upstairs. Anyway, put that in a little container, put in about a cup of almond milk, kind of mix it up, put a lid on it, and I stick it in the fridge. I do that first thing in the morning, and it kind of gels up all day long. After I'm done dinner, so I used to have the habit of wanting to have a dessert after dinner, and even keto desserts, they add up. And if you're not tracking, they really add up. Because let's face it, you're not tracking, oh, what's an extra keto cookie? Yeah, whatever. Anyways, I promised myself this is such a good nutrient dense little snack, I guess if you want to call it. I call it my dessert. I have it as my dessert. It's in the fridge right now. And sometimes I have it cold. Sometimes I have it hot. Sometimes I add a couple berries to it. Sometimes I put some slivered almonds. Sometimes, I have it all different ways, but I have that already in the fridge. So when I'm finished my dinner, it's an automatic now that I go for that. Now, if I eat that, not going to lie, maybe I will have a keto cookie or something. But the odds are really good that if I have that and then a drink of water or something, I am so full after having all of that and so well nourished that I really don't feel the need anymore to reach for a dessert. But when I just have kind of like, kind of a lighter dinner or something like that, and I didn't make that and have it after, I notice it. But that might not be for you, but you could come up with something else. What else? Okay. When I break my fast, when I break a fast, which my norm is I usually fast in the morning, and then I start with lunch, and I break it with my anti-aging drink. And you guys know what's in there. It's my intentionally bare collagen, it's the bone broth, and that's the MCT powder. And then I have mine with almond milk, but you could have yours with, you could even add water, but coconut milk is even good too. But I have that because, one, my stomach is empty and I want something really good and nourishing for my gut when I first break my fast. And also, I find that it really helps me just kind of like transition into regular eating, and it helps me to get in my collagen and my protein for the day. So I find that's a really great way to transition into eating. Okay, after dinner and after I've had my little chia oatmeal, I wash my face and I brush my teeth right after dinner. I just do it right after dinner. It's, for some reason, I have to admit, sometimes I get a little bit lazy with the whole face washing routine business. And now with winter coming, I have to be on my game. I want to make sure my skin is nice and dewy or whatever. So I find that if I wash my face right away and do my little plan, and then I brush my teeth right there, I feel like, okay, I'm done and kitchen's closed. My teeth is brushed. There's no reason that I'm going to eat anything. When I do watch TV in the evening, I automatically make a cup of tea. I have a favorite rooibos that I have at night. I absolutely love it. And I make it. And before we watch anything, sorry, I'm just going to have a drink. Before I watch a movie or a TV show or anything like that, I make a cup of tea and I sit down with a cup of tea and I literally hold the cup of tea in my hand and I watch TV and I'm drinking the tea. I don't want my hands to be available to eat any kind of a snack, and I want something to be coming in. And again, I could say, well, or you could say, well, what if you just said to yourself, that's it, I'm not going to eat when I'm watching TV. I find it easier to replace it with another habit. So the tea thing, it just has really helped me. And honestly, it's got lots of antioxidants and it's super good for me. So I feel like I'm doing myself a favor by having tea. And what else? There was one more thing I was going to say. Oh, yeah, planning projects. If there are trigger times for you, planning some kind of a project. Whenever we do any kind of a fasting challenge in the group, I say this all the time before a challenge starts. What's your plan for the week? I want to know what your projects are. Are you cleaning out your closet? Are you trying on some clothes? Are you doing a bunch of cleaning? Are you gutting out your garage? Are you gardening? Whatever time of year. Plan out projects anytime you have triggers. If evening is a trigger for you, and like say you're not watching TV or whatever, but you want to have something to do, and if you find that if you're just kind of sitting around, it's a trigger for you, maybe say to yourself, okay, once I'm done dinner and everything, I'm going to do one project. What's that one project? Before I sit down to read or whatever your kind of quieter activities are, have that project and get yourself involved in that project. And that might just pass through the trigger time that you would normally have into something else. So yeah, those are kind of my tips. I know it's more than three, but they were three categories. So I have just found for myself, I've been really noticing these habits that I've had and these triggers that I've had. And by implementing the things that I just told you, I have noticed a huge change, like a really, really good change. And I'm really proud of myself because I feel like I'm not reaching for those foods nearly as often as I was before. So let's hear from you guys. Tell me, tell me, tell me. Do you guys have any of these issues? What things do you do to help prevent it? Did anything I say maybe help? Maybe you're going to try out some of this. I'm going to go back here. Teresa said, my worst time of the day is after 8 watching TV, right? Especially if I did well during the day, right? Exactly. I always feel like that too. It's like so ironic. Like if I do so well during the day, it's almost like I feel like I deserve this reward of a treat. Whereas if I didn't, well, and you know what? And you know what the bad thing is? Here's a lose lose. If you do well during the day, you think, oh, I kind of deserve to have a little treat. If you do crappy during the day, then you're like, what the heck? I didn't do very well anyways. I may as well have some more. Darn it. We're always self-sabotaging ourselves, aren't we? Teresa, I have your MCT capsules, but rarely take them. Oh my gosh, girl, you have to take them. If you've had your meal and you feel just a little twinge or whatever, oh my gosh, just take like 6 of them. Just take them with a big glass of water. And also, oh, I don't have it right here, but I always keep a little container in my purse. Always, always. I literally just took them the other day. I was driving around doing errands and I felt like, oh, I'm kind of feeling a little bit like I could have something. I was in my fasting time, but it wasn't lunchtime yet. And I thought, I'm just going to take some MCT capsules. I took 6 MCT capsules and I drank a whole bunch of my water. And you know what? That feeling passed in 15 minutes. I was not hungry at all. I completely made it to my fasting time. But had I not done that, I probably would have gone through like Starbucks drive-through or something. Probably would have got some egg bites or something, which wouldn't have been the worst thing in the world. But still, it pushed me a little farther. The capsules are amazing. Okay. Beth, mine is when I'm on the run and I know I'm not going to eat all day. I need to just fast. Well, it certainly is a lot easier once we get into that really good zone, Beth. And I admit that I been off that fasting track for a long time, getting back into it now, and I just feel it's like, why did I stop doing it? Well, that's a whole other talk that we could have, but I feel so much better now that I've been fasting. And by the way, if anybody is interested in learning more about fasting, guide number 6, I have a ton of information in there for you if you want to learn more about intermittent fasting and fasting. We do a lot of that in this group. Okay. And I love your tea trick. Evenings are the worst for me, and tea might do the trick. Do you ever do your anti aging drink warm like hot cocoa? Oh, yes. Okay, I'll say that one first. I absolutely do. Yes, I add raw cacao, but you could just use like unsweetened cocoa and mix it up good and heat it up, and it is absolutely amazing. But the tea thing in the evening, oh my gosh, like that has become my abs, like it really is routine now that I automatically reach for that, especially if I'm going to sit down and if I'm going to read or watch TV. Those two are like, I love watching good shows and I love watching movies and I love reading. I really do. Like in the evenings as my downtime or whatever, I love doing those things. But there's something about those activities that make me just want to eat snacky foods. You know what I mean? You're holding the book in one hand and you're eating something with the other hand, or you're watching TV and you're mindlessly. I mean, I guess it's kind of mindless, but it's also like so enjoyable. But the tea replaces it. I can still hold my book and I can drink my tea. I can still watch my show and I can drink my tea. That tea has saved me. That tea has honestly saved me. So yeah, give that a try. Sonia, do we need to track the capsules as well? Wow, you absolutely can track the macros of the capsules, but you know what? It's 1 gram of fat per capsule. So, like I said, I take 6 at a time when I'm starting to feel a little bit hungry. So that's 6 grams of fat. Is that going to, it's not really going to make too much difference in your day other than help you. But sure, you can track it. Absolutely. I've got the macros are right here on the container. So if you got the container, it's right on there. You probably could just look it up in your tracker too, and all the intentionally bare products should come up in your tracker. They're in most of the most common trackers. Yeah, so yeah, that is what I want to talk about today, you guys, because I think we can all relate. And now winter is coming, and I find that in the spring and the summer, we can be a lot more busy being outdoors, gardening, just being active and stuff like that. But in the wintertime, it's a little bit more of a read, watch TV, sit around type thing in the evenings, especially. And we need something to kind of occupy our time. And like I said, a lot of these things that I talk about, they literally are just things that have become habit. They've just become habits, right? They're things that we have just started doing, not because we were truly hungry, unless, of course, you didn't eat enough or you didn't get enough protein or fat. That aside, most of the time they are just habits. We've just created these habits. We think we need it, but we really don't need it. So try replacing it with something else and see if that makes a difference for you. It really has made a big difference for me. Beth, I'm so out of my fasting zone. Me too. I mean, I'm definitely a lot better now. I am no way am I in anywhere close to where I was, I'll say at my peak time, but that's okay. That's okay. Beth, you know exactly what to do, and it doesn't really take that long to get back into it. You just start doing your high fat every day and just going a little bit longer, a little bit longer. One mistake I made when I was getting first into it is I thought, oh, I know how to fast. My God, I used to do 72 hours, like no problem, right? I used to do it all the time. And I jumped in way too soon, way too soon. Don't make that mistake. We do have to give our bodies a little bit of time. It does go a little bit faster for people who are experienced, but man, I felt like I kind of had like low blood sugar is what I felt when I was pushing it too much. And then it kind of caused me to kind of reverse a little bit. And I kind of did a little bit of binge eating. So I do not recommend jumping into it super fast. Still go gradual and just go as far as you can go and see how that goes. But you'll get back into it, Beth. You've always been a really good faster. And the nice thing about fasting is, like you were saying, you travel a lot and and it's so handy. I remember so many times traveling with my family, and I purposely got myself into a really great fasting zone before I went on vacation. And we'd be at the airport or we're on the plane and there's no good food and blah, blah, blah. And my family's like, I'm starving. I'm hungry. This isn't good. And I'm like, I'm good. I'll eat when we get to the hotel in Mexico. I'm fine. It was so funny. But it's really freeing knowing that you don't have to eat. Honestly, I really miss being able to go for longer periods. My best is when I can go a full day without even thinking, just a full day. I'm not there yet, but I'm working on it. So even just to get to noon is really, really nice. And that is freeing too. Anyway, you guys, it's been great chatting with you. And I look forward to talking about this more in the group this week. So keep the chatter going. And I hope you guys all have a really nice evening. And I'll talk to you soon. Okay, take care. Bye. Hey guys, before you go, hit the like and subscribe button if you haven't already, and hit the bell notification so you can be notified every time we have a new video posted. Also, down in the description, I will have links to everything that we talked about in our chat today, including information on how you can join my Intentionally Bare Keto support group. See you next time.